I'm very excited to be with you all here today. So when Pratosh and Shalini approached me for this keynote talk, I took a step back and analyzed my 20 years of career in the technology industry. And I realized that I have come a long way from the early engineering days to giving this keynote talk. So I thought it will be a good idea to walk you all through this journey and reflect on it, as well as talk about all the technologies that have emerged through all these 20 years of my career. So let's get started. A bit of background about myself. I'm a hardcore fitness enthusiast. I love running. I've done a marathon, a half marathon, Mumbai half marathon. I love cycling, so I live in Chennai right now. I cycle along the coast over here. It's very beautiful. I like playing board games. Settlers of Catan is my favorite. I love traveling. There are a lot of different shades to my character. But when someone comes and asks me about myself, the first thing I think about is that I am a hardcore technologist. I'm a passionate technologist, and that's what's reflected through all my career journey so far. So I grew up in Bombay. I did my undergrad in Bombay. And then I decided to go to the US for my graduate studies. I did my PhD in computer science from Georgia Tech in Atlanta. And this was a very fascinating experience for me. I learned a lot. I learned a lot from my peers, from my advisors, of course. And the technology that I worked in was very interesting. Now, it wasn't an easy decision in any way, right? Meaning all my friends who have done bachelor's or master's had already started working, and they were earning a lot, maybe 10x of what I was, right? I was on this measly graduate student salary. And while I was doing that, I always used to analyze. And I realized that this is really what I want to do, right? I wanted to take a problem, go deep in it, research in it, and understand it at the core. So I realized that it is very important to invest the time in yourself, to invest the time to go deep in any problem and invest it in yourself, right? Talking about the technology at that time, I was working in the CDN space, or content distribution network space. Now today, CDN is a very common term, right? Many of you would know it. But at that time, it was very early days for the CDN space. And in general, the internet was very young. Not many companies had realized the importance of putting their data on the cloud. In fact, the cloud was not even a term at that point, right? So Google, Amazon were just about starting up. There were very few companies in this space. And here I was working in the CDN space, a very cutting edge technology. Now after my graduate studies, after I finished my PhD, this was around 2005, when I joined Google. And Google was one of the few companies who had data centers, who had the CDN setup that was basically a set of data centers, a set of servers that were all around the world, and I worked on the core infrastructure system that worked on these load balancing servers, right? Load balancing of servers. Now my work involved load balancing between data centers as well as within data centers. So it was a very interesting time for me to be in Google. This was very early days for Google. Search and ads were the big services. Gmail was the other service. But this was before YouTube, before maps had come in play. So really early days, few tens of services. And Google realized the importance of scaling this infrastructure up to thousands of services. So in fact, my first project was about scaling the load balancing system from a few tens of services to thousands of services. Very technologically challenging and interesting as well. One incident I would like to highlight from that period is during the first 1 year of my work in Google. I was the junior most member in the team at that time, and I was entrusted this responsibility of deploying a binary in production. Now, this was a very legacy piece of code. not many people, actually no one had touched it for almost a year. So I was very careful. I analyzed it, I put it on the server, and things looked okay for about an hour. So then I decided to go for lunch with my teammates. Now what happened was, when I came back from lunch, I realized that the binary had crashed. It had in fact crashed the data center and many of the services in that data center. I was shocked, I was embarrassed. It was a scary moment for me, right? Here I was in Google, one of the biggest companies in the world, and I had almost brought down a data center. Of course, as in Google has its own redundancy and fallbacks in place, so I had not affected that much of the traffic, but it was a mistake nevertheless. Now, the support that I got from my tech lead and my manager in terms of how to handle that mistake was fantastic, right? So they helped me analyze the issue, debug the issue, and mitigate the issue as well. We did a detailed post-mortem of what happened, and the lesson that I took away from it was that mistakes are inevitable, mistakes will happen, but learn from them and continue to improve yourself, right? The takeaway is not the mistake itself, but how do you handle it and move on. So make those mistakes, don't be afraid to make those mistakes, but handle them and move on. So after about a couple of years in the US and Google, I decided to move to India for personal reasons. I transferred within Google to the Bangalore office, and this was early days for the Bangalore office as well. It was about 1 year for the Bangalore office. The biggest project at that time was Orkut. I don't know whether anyone here remembers Orkut, but this was really early days for the social apps era, right? Facebook wasn't in picture at that time, and everyone in India, for example, was on Orkut. Now, the other projects here were related to local languages, and maps was coming up at that time. So what I thought was, okay, let's try out one of these technologies, right? But then there was this very interesting AdWords project that was being set up, and I talked to the tech lead, who's now a fellow in Google and a very senior person even at that time. And I realized when I looked at that problem that yes, it absolutely makes sense to do this product. Why is it not already done, right? Now realize that so far my career had been primarily in the CDN space, right? I had worked for about 8-9 years in content distribution networks, and this product that I was talking about, AdWords systems, was a completely new domain for me. I had absolutely no clue about the domain. One of my thoughts was that I have built this deep expertise, do I suddenly jump into a new domain, right? I might be a fish out of water there. But what I realized was it's great to analyze new technologies and learn those new technologies, because that's how you'll grow in your career, right? And it was a fantastic decision for me. This was one of the highlights of my Google career, because so far I had worked on the engineering aspects, the technology aspects when I was working on the CDN space. But here was this chance for me to connect the technology and the business and product aspects. So in particular, this was a keyword recommendation system that we had built for the AdWords domain. And this was early days for keyword recommendations. Today keyword recommendations are very common, but at that time this was one of the first few systems to do that. So we in fact sat with AdWords account executives, analyzed how they are actually handling AdWords accounts for people, right? So that connect between technology and business was very important for me, and formed a transitional sort of path for me from the tech to the business domain. Now this was of course a very highly business impacting project, and we went on to win the Founders Award for that as well. Right. So after about a total of 9 years, so this AdWords project was around 2010. I was in Google for another 4 years after that in various projects. Around 2014, what happened was the outside world was also changing quite a lot. This was around the time AWS had taken a stronghold, Google was getting into the GCP, the Google Cloud program, Google Cloud platform, and Azure was on the horizon. And the startup world was changing quite a lot, right? Basically, the core platforms, the technologies were all in place, and then the startups were making use of these platforms, technologies, data to build some exciting things on top of it. So I thought this is a great opportunity for me to jump into the entrepreneurial world. Also, at that time, I wanted to move to Chennai for personal reasons. So I moved here and got together with an ex-Google colleague over here, and around that time video and social was becoming big. Augmented reality was becoming big. So Facebook, Instagram, WhatsApp had now arrived on the scene and were quite big. And Snapchat was on the rise. So in the augmented reality domain, Snapchat, Pokemon Go, these were becoming big. So what we thought was, why don't we do something like that for the Indian market? So we did a very interesting augmented reality based consumer experience and launched it on Android, iOS. Very engaging, very interesting experience, but extremely difficult to make it work business wise. Now, I had learned a lot on the technology, product and business front in Google. But making it work in the business domain in practice was extremely difficult. We always knew that this is going to be a risky proposition, right? But it is important to challenge yourself and try to make it work, right? So after we did the consumer app, we decided to go into the enterprise world as well. We worked with a couple of big enterprises actually in this domain. It was a very interesting experience, but nevertheless extremely difficult to make it work business wise. So around middle of last year, we took a step back and decided to evaluate the technology and the domain and the business in a more objective way. Now one thought that did come to our mind was, are we throwing in the towel here? As in, are we giving up too early, right? But objectively, when we analyzed it, we realized that we are really proud to have built the company and the product the way we did. But it was time to wrap up because business-wise it was not really making sense. So middle of last year, after we decided to wrap up the company, there were numerous options on the table. So I talked to multiple companies, startups in US, in India, as well as big companies. Going back to US was, going back to Google was an option. But I finally decided on Swiggy for multiple reasons. And the primary one in that was about the role that I was getting at Swiggy, right? So currently I am VP of Engineering at Swiggy, and I am also setting up the Chennai engineering office. Now, distinguished engineer versus VP was one of the big decision points for me, and in particular, because I have always been on the technology side, a distinguished engineer role was my forte, right? But moving to the management ladder and building a team, building an organization, leading a charter was a more in the unknown direction or more of a challenge for me. I looked on it as a great new opportunity, and I'm always keen on discovering and grabbing new opportunities. So, which is why I finally decided on the VP engineering role. Now, coming to my work in Swiggy, it's actually very interesting. So, if you look at Swiggy, it's what is called as a hyperlocal company, right? Meaning, say Uber or Ola, the ride-sharing companies, are basically operating at an entire city level, right? Whereas Swiggy is what is called as a hyperlocal company. We operate in zones within a city, meaning all the customers, restaurants, delivery partners are very specific to a zone in the city, and we divide a city into multiple zones. Now, considering that Swiggy is so tied to the geography of any city, the Geo platform or the Maps platform is very core to its operation. Say looking at the order life cycle of a Swiggy delivery, right? As a customer, when you go open the Swiggy app, you see multiple restaurants on the app, and I'll walk you through how this happens, right? So when you open the app detects where your location is, and we show you a bunch of restaurants. These restaurants are within a certain geo radius of your location, and we estimate that based on mapping technologies, external mapping technologies. But other than this, once you place the order, we need to know who are the delivery partners within a certain radius of the restaurant. And this is not just about distance, right? It's also about the time that the delivery person will take to reach the restaurant. Now, all of this is very much a domain of the maps layer. Once the delivery person reaches the restaurant and picks up the food, they need to navigate to your location. Now, navigation is something we always use even as consumers, right? But Swiggy needs something beyond just the regular navigation that many of the mapping technologies provide. And in particular, if you are, say, staying in a residential complex, right? Where does the Swiggy person park their bike? That's something that they need to know. How do they walk within the residential complex to your gate or to the lift and things like that. These are very specific Swiggy problems that we need to solve in this geo domain. And that is exactly what I'm building as part of this location intelligence platform. I'm leading the charter here, and what we do is, while these delivery people are making their deliveries, we collect GPS pings from their app. So as a consumer, when you're using an Android phone, our GPS pings go to Google, and Google uses that for building its mapping technologies. Now similarly, on the Swiggy side, what we are doing is, we are collecting the GPS ping information and building the trace of a delivery partner, right? Either from the restaurant to the customer, or from their original location to the restaurant, and so on. This is very exciting use of the data that they are generating, and very specific to Swiggy's business. Now this is the location platform that I am building. There are multiple other platforms that you will hear about throughout the conference in the next 2 days. Now the core part of this location platform is the data that we are analyzing from the delivery partners. Now data all around us, many technologies are using the data that we are generating at humongous scales, right? Meaning companies like Google, Facebook, Amazon, Netflix, all of them are making meaningful use of the data that we generate. Data has been around for a decade or more, and it's going to continue to be so for the next decade or two, or maybe even more, right? The applications are many. You take healthcare, retail, e-commerce, auto industry, all of these are using, and many more, right? All of these are using data at its core, and then you use the data science to make meaningful information out of the data that you are generating. One example I would like to talk about is in healthcare, right? Companies like Niramay, Oncostem and stuff are using data from previous radiology scans to enable a quick detection of breast cancer, for example, right? So screening, quick screening for breast cancer. There are other really futuristic and progressive technologies also. To give an example, self-driving car that Google and many other companies are building, right? So they basically take miles and miles or millions of miles of data that the car has driven on, and they analyze it using really sophisticated technologies. A lot of computer vision analysis is done, and they basically rebuild the objects that are coming at you on the road. They do object detection, they tell you how to react to these, right? So really exciting technologies built on top of this data that we are generating. Now I've talked to you about multiple technologies over the course of these 20 years. And there's one technology that it's very interesting to me and that I would like to talk to you about as well right now. So when I was joining Swiggy, I was setting up this remote engineering office, right? I was in Chennai, the main office was in Bangalore. So I had a lot of discussion with my manager about how this remote office is going to shape up, right? I've worked in Google in a remote setting, he has worked in Amazon as well. So things were a bit new for Swiggy at that time in terms of remote setup. But in the last 3 months or so, this has completely changed, right? We are in this space or in this domain where remote work is very natural to us. We have this advantage that we can work remotely and be as productive as we were before, right? It's actually a luxury for us. Now, of course, this is built with on top of many of these remote working platforms, collaboration platforms, communication platforms. All of us are very used to using Zoom, Slack, Hangouts, all of these platforms and products, right? So because of this, we are in a position to do this remote work really seamlessly. And I would encourage all of you to take advantage of this. So to give a personal example, when we came back from US to India, I was working in Bangalore in Google and my husband was in Chennai. So for 4 years, we were going back and forth between Bangalore and Chennai every weekend, right? But now it doesn't matter whether I'm in Bangalore or Chennai. In Swiggy, I'm in the Chennai office, but practically I could be in Bangalore, right? Considering that all of us are working remotely now. So this has in some sense leveled the playing field or in some sense. And I am really excited about this trend. I think it's a trend here to stay. Many companies in India, in US, world over have considered moving completely to a remote model, at least for the foreseeable future, maybe even for a longer time. My advice to you is to use these opportunities, use these technologies to your advantage and shape your career in such a way that you can benefit from this. Own your career, own the path of your career, chart your own path. That's my main advice to you. So I'll summarize the 20 years of my career in a few sentences now, and I would encourage you to also take away some of these lessons and apply it in your careers as well. The main one I would always encourage all of you to do is to discover new opportunities. Look for new opportunities where you can grow beyond what you have been doing currently, right? Take these risks, take these challenges. That's when you are learning, when you're growing in your careers, in your paths. How you make use of these is of course up to you, but this is how you will evolve. Be okay with making mistakes. Don't be afraid to make mistakes. Learn from those mistakes and continue to grow. And the main thing I would always advise every single person I know, meaning 90% of this audience is women, but women or men, invest the time in yourself, invest the time in charting your own career, in taking your own career in your hands and making the most out of it. Thank you. I'm open for questions now.